Hey guys, it is Chris Schlafvoid, and this is my Psychic Heroes deck. This is actually a reasonable deck. It is quite fast, it is very explosive, and there's just a bunch of cool plays you can do with this. The thing about this is it might be confusing to your opponent, because stuff will be switching around controls all the time. Another thing about this is that this is not for a beginner player's deck. It is a budget deck, but it is not for someone who's still running Machina Gadget and just looking for something different. This is the real deal. Sorry, my thing's getting all messed up. This is the real deal. This is a hard to run deck. This is a hard to control deck, but if you think you're up for the challenge, just go for it. Go ahead, build it. It isn't that expensive. Anyway, let's get started. One Stratos, just because it's Elemental Heroes, Destiny Heroes, all that stuff. So you run him to search out your things. 2 Malicious to make 8s with Esper Girls, and he's also Dark Arm Fuel. And D-Draw Fuel. 2 Diamond Dude, just because he's one of the best Destiny Heroes. And he's just there so you can activate creature swap to get your opponent's monster, and he's also Dark Armed and D-Draw Fuel. 1 Armageddon Knight just as an extra Foolish Burial. 1 Plague Spreader Zombie just because you can ditch him with Armageddon Knight. He's fuel for Dark Armed, and you can also combo him with Malicious, and you can also make 5s with your Cleric and 6s with your Silent Psychic Wizard and Plus. 1 Dark Arm just because you can drop him really easily. I'm sorry I don't have him, but yeah, you can just drop him really easily, and he can really help with the control in this deck. For Psychics, 3 Esper Girl. She's your main tuner. She pretty much makes sure that you never not have a card in your hand, so you'll always have cards in your hand with her effect. Plus, you can always synchro with her a bunch. You can reuse her over and over with Power Well and things like that. 3 Silent Psychic Wizard. He's good because you can remove from play your Esper Girl, stack for Plague, sync 6 Brionac, special summon Esper Girl, remove from play the top card of your deck, ditch a couple cards to bounce stuff, sync with Brionac and Esper Girl for an 8, let's say Stardust, add the card to your hand. Oh, what's that? Oh, top deck an E-Telly. Yeah, and it's just amazing plays you can do with this guy. Plus he's a 1900 beater, which makes him hard to get over. 1 Hush Psychic Cleric, just as an optional 3-star, and you can also you can discard your Mallies and Plague Spreaders for his effect, which is nice. And he's also a big 2100 defense, which can help if you're playing like Hero Beat or something. 2 Serene Psychic Witch. Pretty much if you set her and your opponent actually attacks her, it's game next turn because you get a card to your hand with Esper Girl, and you get a 2-star tuner free to the field, and there's just a bunch of really cool plays just by setting her and if your opponent attacks her. 1 Psychic Commander, just as an optional 3-star tuner, and he can also make it seem like your little psychics can be extremely beefy. Spells, Backward Destruction, 2 MST, Heavy Storm, Staples, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, just basic stuff. 2 Potted Duality, just Diamond Dude target, plus you don't special summon a lot turn 1 or turn 2, you most special summon on turn 3 and turn 4, so this is very good, because you can just D-draw into it, a bunch of plays you can do with just searching things with Duality. 2 D-Draw, just to discard the dead Malicious in your hand to draw 2 cards. 2 Creature Swap, because you can swap your guys that when they sent to the graveyard, you plus pretty much, for an opponent's huge monster like a Scrap Dragon or something, and pretty much take control of the game, because you just went +1 and your opponent went -1 off this 1 card, so this is really helpful in situations. 2 Enemy Controller. It's kind of like Creature Swap, except a little bit better just because it has the option of switching your opponent to defense, so you can use it as back row. But you can't combo it with Serene Psychic Witch. You can only combo it with things like Cleric, Esper Girl, and the Knight guy or whatever. Forgot his name. 1 emergency teleport because you're running psychics, just basic. And 1 power well just because you run the 3 Esper Girl, and those will get in your grave ridiculously fast. Traps, 3 D Prison. Just because you can set an Esper Girl. If you want to keep her on the field, you can flip the D Prison. Also, if you econ something and they bring it and it goes back to their field, you can just prison it. If they get rid of your monster after you creature swapped, you can just prison their Serene Psychic Witch and do other plays with it. This is just a good card in this deck overall. Torrential Tribute, just because you can actually plus with this using Serene Psychic Witch and other things just being sent to the graveyard that you get additions to. Solemn Judgment, just staple pretty much. And Starlight Road, just because you won't always be going into Stardust. I find myself going into Scrap Dragon and Brionac in this deck the most. But, it's still a good card. And it's a free Stardust, and it protects your back row. So yeah, that's the deck. It is a budget deck, except for maybe the extra deck, just because you gotta run like Trish and Brionac and stuff like that. The expensive staple synchros, but it is a good deck. It is not autopilot though. You do need to know how to play the game in order to play this deck. Yeah, that's it. Just subscribe, click that button up there. Thumbs up. See you later, YouTube.